Welcome back to Dan's Messy Garage. This is going to be day 6 of working on Project Betty, the 1976 Monarch. In day 5, I was working on the driver's side rear wheel lip area. Just stepped on something. I got that welded in there in the first round of Duraglas on it. I'm going to continue that today. And I might even start working on the hole that's in the front of the tire above the rocker there. When I do this stuff, let's say I start working on that and I don't feel like doing that, I will stop working there, go somewhere else. Might even get into sanding down that rear part today to see if there's any ugliness hidden in there. But now it's time to get to work. First thing today I'm going to do is crawl up inside here. Because when I put the Duraglas here, I just kind of smeared it around with my fingers. And I want to crawl in there and look, check that out, maybe sand down some. That's going to be my first priority today. That was in pretty good shape in there. I had a couple lumps of Duraglas that I didn't spread out correctly. And I smoothed down everything else that was in there. And when I do this other layer, I can smear some more in there to make it feel good if anybody were to reach back in there. But we're in good shape. While that is curing, I'm going to start stretching a piece of metal to go on the other side of Betty. That side doesn't have as big of an area lengthwise, but it's got a bigger area rust hole wise. But this 18-inch piece should be enough to get around the arch area. I'm just doing a little at a time here, get it stretched. You should be able to see the part move every time I do that. It's getting it bent more and more. Now on this side, I was smart enough to only have like about a 1/2 inch lip on the horizontal part. It's got a real small lip. You guys stay there a second. I'm going to check this real quick. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Still got too much of a curl out at that end. I need to straighten some of that out. Well, hang on. I'm going to go check it. Whoa, we're getting real close. I think I just need to stretch this part right here in the center a little bit. Or shrink, I mean. See, when you shrink it, you're jamming the metal back together, which is going to straighten out the curve. Back over here for another test fit. All right. I think we're doing good. I'm on the passenger side of Betty now. I was starting to cut away the arch to fit that piece in there. And look what I found. That's all Bondo. This whole corner. I got my piece to go in here. And then when I was cutting away to get, put that in place, it's all Bondo. Feels like there's all Bondo in the back here too. So I'm going to be in for a lot more work on this side. This all seems like metal here. That's going to need to be rebuilt. I think I'm going to walk away from this side for a while. I'm still playing with the other side. I was just doing this while the Duraglas was hardening up behind the board. I'm going to get back over on that side. And I'll have to keep this in the back of my mind on what I'm going to do. I know I'm going to have to grind all this down to find out what's there and what's not. But not right now. I brought out my long board, and that's going to help keep things flat. It's, I don't know, 16, 18 inches long. Right now I just have 40 grit on there. That's really rough paper. But I want to block this down so I can feel like a low spot here. And you can see it's touching there and there, so that means that those are high. And there's still a low spot right in here where it's not contacting. I'm going to keep blocking at it for a while here till I get to see more metal here and there. And then I can put another layer on. I can just smear that on, normal like, and then block it. Came over on this side because I got to think what I'm going to do on the other side. And I can think and do this at the same time. The other side has a lot of Bondo right in this area. So I need to figure out just what I'm going to do. I started sanding on it, and it seems super solid. It's like that Bondo's been there for a long, long, long time. And it doesn't want to be chipping out of there or coming out easy. So, beater car might end up leaving a lot of the Bondo on that other side. I'll fix, this up in here where the holes were. But that other side is to be determined. Figure I'll sand on this side and think about that one. So I got to get back to work. You always want to try to get on as smooth as you can. If you can do something in one long swipe, do it. Now I got this flat thing pretty flat, and you can see I got some extra hanging off the edge. I'm tempted to go like that. I've been down this road before. That's going to screw yourself. I already got a nice swipe on there before I put the edges, the extra on the edges. So I'm going to leave it and let it harden up. And you can babysit it. And when it starts to harden, but it's not hard, you can shape it easily. So I'm going to probably babysit this and then have an X-Acto knife ready, or a utility knife, where I can cut those edges off. While that's kind of hardening up on the driver's side, I'm on the passenger side. This is what I was talking about. All this right here is Bondo. You feel it in the back, but that is good and solid. Nothing wants to move. That Bondo's been there a long time. I'm really gonna try to leave that alone. I'll sand it down, because I got to repaint this and fix all those dents. But that's just gonna be a lot of time to fix. And on the beater car, it's not a full restoration. Just not gonna happen. This I will have to make some metal patches for. I don't know if I can do that all in one shot. I'll have to try. Notice it's got a little hole on this side too. Some bubbles. And you probably already noticed I stayed away from that side. That area on the other side. Just not ready to deal with that. You got to pick your fights, folks. And right now, I prefer to pick the fight with this wheel lip up to this point, and then the other side of the car. Speaking of the other side of the car, let me go over there and see if that's ready to be cut off yet. Yeah, it's getting real close. Still a little soft. I gotta wait a couple more minutes. Because if I try to do this when it's too soft, it's gonna chunk out of there, and I'm just gonna screw myself. So I'll give it some more time. While I'm waiting for that to harden up, I'm gonna go around and clean off the car and this weather strip to get it ready for tape, so I can finally put the last coat of POR 15 on there. Just haven't been able to do it the last couple days. So put some tape on there and then check that. Okay. That feels better. See, it was only a couple of minutes. But see, now I can carve on this. It's soft enough to cut. Way too soft to sand. This just saves a little bit of sanding time. Just got to be careful you don't dig into it. Then you just got to put more on if you do. Okay. Well, I'm going to continue that, and I'll be back. See, it's only been a couple minutes, but that's starting to harden up enough that I can take the utility knife blade and scrape on it and get the, some of those ridges off there. This is a lot easier than sanding. Just got to catch it at the right time, as it's curing to be able to do this. In a few more minutes, this is going to be hardened up so that I wouldn't be able to do this. It's going to be hardened up too much to do it. Then it's going to be sandpaper only. I got some above this area up here on the paint, and I'm able to slice that off with the razor blade because it's not fully hard. I mean, this stuff up here doesn't really matter because I'm going to be sanding all this, but, do it while you can. A little thick up here. All right. So I'm just holding the blade 90 degrees to it, scraping on it. I'm sure it's dulling the blade, but this was already a partially dull blade. I'll just put a new one in and the knife. See, this down here is already too hard to carve. Yep. I'm thinking carve time's over. It's going to be sandpaper. I finished sanding on that area, and it still had a couple low spots. And it did have a high. On a high spot, rather than put a whole bunch on to smooth it, just take a hammer and smack down that high spot. Turn it into a low spot, because lows are much easier to fill. So I got probably the final coat on there. And it's, what time is it now? 6:30. I came in here at 10 o'clock, but I did take a lunch break. But I'm going to call this the end of day 6 of Dan's Messy Garage, working on Project Betty, the 76 Monarch. Please come back for day 7, and I hope you have a good evening. Bye.